Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. So today we have another experiment for you guys, and that is making a wrecking ball crane with the hinge linked chain. Alright, so today I want to play around with hinges once again, but this time in a linked chain style. So what I mean by that is this here, where each hinge is turned 90 degrees and going down all the way here to make some kind of linked chain design. As you see in linked chains, they're kind of like oval shaped kind of things linked together in opposite or 90 degree sides or angles, and that makes the chain for the most part. So I wanted to make a wrecking ball out of this whole entire thing using the smaller hinge pieces, of course, into this new crane system I created, which kind of looking like a bit of a school bus, but decent looking thing here. And this one's made with a more simplified hinge system, which is 3 torqueless hinges, one here, one here, one here, with a piston to go up to force the arms to go upwards and downwards that way without having to go too low down. And of course we got some piston arms here, which is 3 of them, to go forward to extend the arm itself. And that is all controlled by our favorite script, which is the cockpit, piston, rotor, and hinge controller, and easy script to use. The system is very similar to my other crane systems I made in the past. The right inside the middle here is actually a rotor system. This time it's an advanced rotor, and it's connected right there if you can see it, where we can turn the system left and right on top here, and the bottom control here or cockpit controls the rover itself. So of course this one's a little bit different from my base design of my other crane system, which was this one here, where this one looked a little more like Scorpion based on the welder system. This one looked a little bit better, and it's not as big, and it's more compact. But I didn't want to use this because the sloped plates here, or the sloped blocks, are very easy to break if I were to put a wrecking ball style system. So I want to keep it as simple as possible and use a piston. So if it hits the piston, it likely won't break it compared to the sloped armor blocks. So that's why we just create a whole new system here. The wrecking ball itself is compiled of heavy armor blocks and some blast door pieces out here, and of course just add a light just for the hell of it. And the rest of it is just a basic rover, to be honest. There's batteries, programming blocks, the advanced rotor, as I mentioned before, 2 cockpits, one to control the rover, one to control the crane arm, which if you put a remote control, we can control both using this cockpit here. But we'll leave it as that for now. But we wanted to test out to see if this hinge linked chain system kind of worked or not, and just once making it and swinging it a little bit, it seems to work out pretty well actually. So my controls for AD, which is left and right, is gonna spin the system like so, or the top piece left and right. As you see here, it's swinging the wrecking ball a little bit. It's not the best control, but as you see here, it is seeming to be working pretty well, where it is using all different directions and actually spinning in circles. So that's pretty cool, and it's kind of similar to what I made previously as a wrecking ball with the harpoon mod. But this time, if we get a mod, we can do it all vanilla here and use this kind of link chain hinge system to make some kind of rope. So let's test out and see how well this will break stuff. So I have a few tests here, and it might break the hinges because they are small grid hinges, but we'll see what happens. We have light armor blocks, small grid. We have armor plate, large grid with the light version, and then we have our basic large grid light armor blocks. We could test other things, but I don't think it's gonna go past the light armor blocks. To be honest, I'm pretty sure a hinge or two will break, but instead of breaking the main one, we're just gonna move this guy back a little bit and spawn in a brand new one that we can always reset from there. Alright, so there's that, and oh, see, you may have heard it, if it smacks the piston, it likely won't break it, which is a good thing. But if we use the other system, the older welder system, if it did smack into, that was a mistake, but if it did smack into the sloped piece or sloped armor blocks, it will definitely break. Alright, so I think I glued it onto the floor by mistakes. I don't know what happened there. That's likely the case, but yeah, luckily we can avoid all that and move on forward. So this thing might swing and hit the blocks even without my intention here, but what I can do is actually extend the arms a little bit more so we can get a nice hit to these walls. But it's looking like the experiment for the most part, the hinge chain or link chain system is working out pretty well actually, as you see there. It's just spinning everything in circles and loosely because they all have no torque, the hinges. You can turn them off, as many comments have said in the past, for hinges. If you don't want them torqueless, you could just turn them off. Or what we usually do is just turn the hinges to torqueless. Alright, so what we can do here is actually from here, so we can get some distance just in case. So even if at this distance, we might be able to do it, but let's see. We can extend the piston arm. Oop, that's a little fast. And from here, oop, we could turn this thing. That's spinning a little too fast, but it's looking decent. Let's bring this thing down just a tiny bit. And whenever we're ready, we can just swing it to that side and see if it breaks anything. Oop, completely missed. Yeah, I'm a little off. Whoa, that thing is swinging like crazy. And it nearly knocked over the rover itself. So not the best system, I gotta say, in terms of swing. I might be swinging a little bit too fast and too heavy, or too fast to be honest. So let's put it that way, put it a little closer, and see if we can swing this guy this way now. And it didn't cause any damage whatsoever, but as you see here, while I'm smacking myself, it's not breaking, which is a good thing. Let me change the programming block speed just a tad, because that might be why it's going too crazy. So it's at 5, maybe we just do 1, so it's not too fast. Alright, so change the speed on here. So okay, so it's not as fast, so I think we get a better control here. And let's see if it actually able to swing and break anything. Well, that's a little bit too slow, to be honest, but let's see. Alright, so it's definitely not heavy enough to break anything. So that's a small grid wrecking ball, so that's probably the main issue why it's not able to break anything. But I think if we find a way to put a large grid, it will break something. But maybe I can change it up, add some large grid hinges instead, so we could put something bigger there and use that to break stuff. But for now, I just want to see, maybe we could just 3-speed instead. I'm gonna bring this guy back once again, and then swing it forward. Oh, that's not what I wanted. And there we go. We got some damage out of it, but I think we are stuck on there. Unfortunate that it had been on the other side of the system. It looks like all the hinges kind of got glued on here for some reason. That's a bit weird. So now we are completely clanged out and stuck on here, which is not intended whatsoever. So it was supposed to just break it, and that's it. I'm gonna see if we could probably do a large grid version of this hinge system. So what we can do is just get rid of that, we don't need that, and put in our hinges. So we're gonna throw our hinges this way, then we're gonna turn it 90-degree angle as we mentioned before as the linked chain piece, and we just gotta keep doing that with each and every piece here going down. With the large grid, we don't need as much, as you're gonna see, and I don't know how well it's gonna work. It might work out pretty well because they are large grid. It's gonna destroy stuff for sure. So what we could do here, we don't have to do a crazy design for this, but we can just put a few little blast doors here and there, so we can do it this way. And I guess we could do some of the spiky way stuff too, if need be. There we go. So that's where we have a simple little wrecking ball kind of system. This is a lot less of a chain, so you see here it's not as much as the small grid, but it might actually work out a little bit better. So if we look at our hinges, well, all our hinges could be torqueless anyway, so we're just gonna do that. And how's it looking? It's looking similar to the small grid, so I'm not sure why I use a small grid in the first place, but using the large grid, it looks like it's swinging pretty well. It's not too bad whatsoever. So let's get into it first and see what that's gonna look like. Alright, so we swing it. It's a little slow. Oh, it's a little heavy for sure, but I'm thinking it's gonna do pretty well against those walls. So we might need to add, I might even break my own crane system here if I'm not careful. So let's just extend this guy out a little bit, as you see here, and let's see if we can swing this guy. And okay, so that's going a little bit freaky. So it doesn't act as great of a rope as it did with the small grid, but to be honest, it's not terrible either. So we can probably use this system for the most part. So let me get rid of this crazy guy who's stuck and get this guy a little bit closer to the wall, like so. We'll drive it. Of course, we didn't get too close. All right, so we're gonna unpark it, drive up to here, get into the crane piece, get a decent angle right over here, and let's hope for the best. I'm gonna back it up and then swing it to the, what's that, the left, and that's swinging a little too high and it just went flying. Okay, ooh, I'm gonna hit myself. Hope I don't break anything. There we go. Not the best wrecking ball or crane system, because it's not, it's just jumbling a little too much. But if you can get it right like that, that seems to be working out pretty well. And it is chipping it off very slowly, as you see here, and not breaking my own system, so that's a good thing. So is this a practical wrecking ball or wrecking crane machine? Not really. So even going 360 like this, it looks like a bad idea. And I lost I lost something. How did I lose that? That's interesting. So it looked like it either broke or it just fell right off the hinge, which was the wrecking ball piece. So that's a bit of a fail there. Not sure how that happened, but it looks like it's working okay when it comes to breaking down light armor blocks or small grid light armor blocks. Alright, so how does it fare against the light armor plating? It's kind of what I want to see also. Probably not any significant damage, but maybe, who knows. I mean, this is a large grid version of a welding arm, so I mean a wrecking ball. So let's see what it's gonna look like. We're just gonna follow the momentum and see if that works out. Okay, that's a little bit too far, and oh, we just wrapped ourselves around. Not exactly what I wanted. Let's bring this thing down. Okay, so let's just take the momentum from this, and it looks like we broke something. And that's actually pretty good damage there. It looks like we definitely broke something, but we also broke the wall itself. Boom. Okay, that was not a great thing. So it decided to break the hinge piece itself. So the good thing about the small grid version is that didn't really happen, but it did get stuck. So yeah, I mean, not much more to test there. It was just trying to test out this kind of linked chain system, if it works on the hinges, and it works out quite well. Is there a lot of control here? Not really. You could probably add a little bit torque to it, those hinges, and I think we should be okay. So that's something we could possibly do. So we take the hinges, we add just a bit of torque. I mean, we could just take a whole bunch of torque to stiffen it up really quick, but we just lower the torque just a bit. We might have a better kind of rotation, better swing with them. So as you see here, it looks a little bit better, but not significantly better. But I think if we played around with the torque a little bit more, we have a better swing to this chain system here. We definitely, using this crane system, we can't go 360 for some reason. Because it just ends up flipping everything. Whoop. That's not exactly what I thought was going to happen, but it did. Alright, so if you enjoyed this experiment, this video, please hit that thumbs up, like the video. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Feel free to drop a comment down below. And of course, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.